Yes, please go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Warm welcome to the President. We are, Mr. President, we don't have the Zambian national anthem to play. We'll sing it. Okay. Then we need a strong soprano to start. Zambia, proud and free, land of faith and joy in unity, leads us in the struggle for their rights. We've won freedom's fight. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. And Your Excellency, your countrymen are in very fine voice tonight. And they have set the bar high for the rest of the evening. But a very warm welcome to everybody here, but especially to Your Excellency, to the Royal African Society and indeed the Royal Overseas League. We're very grateful to the Royal Overseas League for at short notice making this hall available. I see it's just about big enough for the crowd that has come to see you. And we're very pleased. Thank you so many of you for coming. As we are many, and the hall is quite small, we do request that all of you who can please wear your masks during the talk. Not obviously when we're singing, but the rest of the time just for health reasons. And one other housekeeping point, we are not expecting any fire alarms, so should you hear one, please allow the President's Excellency to leave first, and then make your way calmly at the microphone. Just in case. My name is Nick Westcott. I'm the Director of the Royal African Society. The Royal African Society has been around since 1901, things have changed a lot since then, almost all for the better. But in that time, we have had a consistent mission to promote Africa in this country, and in particular to provide a platform for African voices. So I can think of no one more relevant, more appropriate than yourself, Your Excellency, as amongst Africa's newest presidents, to provide you with a platform to tell us what you are going to do. And this is very much in line with the mission of the Royal African Society. We're a membership charity under the Royal Charter. Prince William is our royal patron. But we depend very heavily on the support of our members, both our corporate members, many of them here tonight, Standard Chartered, Anglo-American, ABF Food, De La Rue, and also individual members. So if anybody here is not already a member of the Royal African Society, I encourage you to join, and there are forms that will be available for that as you leave. But I don't want to delay us any further. And I would like to introduce the chairperson of the Royal African Society, Arunma Ote, who was elected by the Council only in August this year, so relatively new. This, I think, is your first president to introduce. Let me pass the floor, please, to Arunma Ote. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Nick. It is indeed a pleasure and honor, Mr. President, to welcome you today to the Royal Overseas League, but also to the Royal African Society and to London. I was just as excited as everyone in this room to have the opportunity to meet you. And so I also want to just welcome all of you who are here today, particularly the Zambians and the Zambians and the diaspora, for joining us in such numbers at such short notice. Many of us have followed Zambia's history since independence with close interest. The strong thread of popular political engagement has repeatedly resurfaced to overthrow attempts to distort or usurp the people's political rights. Today I celebrate you, Mr. President, and I celebrate all Zambians for the recent historic democratic elections and the transition to power. Zambia is indeed not only an example for Africa, but for the entire world. Mr. President, your own persistence in standing up for what you believe in and persevering in the face of difficulty is not only admirable, but makes you a global role model. In standing for president for what I understand is no fewer than 6 times, you have demonstrated that sacrifice and persistence are critical attributes for transformational leaders. It is also a lesson that we should never despair of the potential for democracy to correct itself. At a time when democracy is under attack, you, Mr. President, Zambians and Zambia help society understand that enduring democracy requires unparalleled commitment from all players so as to yield dividends. Mr. President, in addition to your deep political experience as leader of the United Party for National Development since 2006, you've been a worldwide acclaimed outstanding business leader. From your time as CEO of Coopers & Lybrand and Grant Thornton in Zambia from 1994 to 2006, you've been one of Zambia's most successful businessmen, with deep experience in many sectors, in banking, in agribusiness, in farming, in professional services, in tourism, just to name a few. In electing you president, and congratulations once again for a successful election, Your Excellency. Zambians are clearly keen that you put the wealth of experience that you bring in both politics and business to build a prosperous nation that takes its pride of place in the Committee of Nations and serves all Zambians. How you're going to do that, Mr. President, is what we're all here to learn about. We're very pleased that you've decided to share your ambitions for Zambia over the next 5 years. After the President's remarks, we'll have a short conversation. We may not have as much time. And then I'll open the floor to questions from the audience. So without further ado, Mr. President, I'd like to invite you, Your Excellency, to the podium for your address. Thank you.
Please take a seat. Right. Thank you very much, Chair Moderator, of tonight's event, and thank you for recognizing the presence of the leadership of the Royal African Society that are here, and colleagues, your colleagues that are not here. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to interact with these colleagues that are here, who we appreciate that you've been able to find time during or within amidst your busy schedules. So thank you so much. I know you have a lot of things to do in your homes, in your businesses. I guess today is the Thursday, isn't it? And some of you,
The fourth.
yeah, it's a Thursday, isn't it?
Yes, Thursday.
Some of you haven't been able to go home after work and you come here straight. So thank you very much. Let me start by first and foremost thanking the people of Zambia, and many of you here who were able to come home to vote, and those who were not able to come home to vote, for influencing the voters. In fact, some of you voted more than twice, maybe. What do I mean? Because you were able to mobilize a lot of voters on the ground. Through your influence, your opinion leadership, and indeed the value that you provide to your families back home, that they were able to take your views, not all of you, but many of you, because that's your democratic right anyway, that they took a decision to vote for us on the 12th of August 2021. So officially, because it's my official engagement here, is to thank the voters of Zambia, the people of Zambia, for giving us their confidence, giving us their trust, which we will not abuse as we serve them in the years to come, months and years to come. So I think it's also fair to say things are possible if you're a believer, because God has allowed it. Otherwise, it's very difficult, given the environment that was obtaining home, lack of democratic space. Basically, we were not able to reach out to as many voters as possible. But it got done. So thank you very much. Now, I would like to share a few highlights of what we intend to do for the people of Zambia over the next 5 years or so. But I want to step aside a bit and remind ourselves of what motivated us to seek public office, but more importantly, what agenda, what objectives did we set ourselves to do as we ran into 2021 elections. We set ourselves 3 focal areas. Number 1, we learned our lessons of the elections you talked about that we participated in. In a way, actually, I think God was punishing us or teaching us a lesson, because I've been running this party, took over from my predecessor, one Mr. Mazoka, may so rest in peace, a fine brain, a fine citizen, and but he's gone. He did his part. But circumstantially, no excuse at all. In 15 years I've run this party, we participated in 6 elections. That's not normal. Essentially, I should have had 3 elections. I had the misfortune of facing 2 presidents passing on while in office. And our constitution didn't provide for those situations. So we had to have presidential by-elections. But I think that's God's way. His ways are not our ways. And we must always accept it. So, but here is what we set out to do towards 2021. We believe we won 2015, 2016 elections. Actually, as a party, we believe we won 2001 elections. Those of you who are old in this party. So we realized that there was something that we weren't doing well, or weren't doing properly, given that this is Africa, elections sometimes the voter doesn't decide who runs the country. Sometimes those who count votes decide. And this discussion for another day. But I like your starting point. Democracy is very important. Democracy must be grown on our continent. We shouldn't allow autocratic leadership around our continent, because there's a close relationship, core relationship between freedoms, democracy, rule of law, good governance, respect for human rights, liberties and freedoms, and development, and opportunity for our people, as opposed to systems that are heavy-handed, as we had, that are autocratic, like we had. So we set ourselves 3 focal areas. One, that 2021 elections, we would win, and win by a landslide, so that no one would have the chance to allow the counters to decide who runs the country. So we would win, and win big. Number 2, that will protect our votes at all costs until we are sworn in. Number 3, that once we win the election, we will have a dual objective. 2, dual. 1 is to reunite our country, divided country. It's common knowledge that in the last 10 years our country was divided. Number 2, that we will focus on economic reconstruction, economic development, and rebuilding our social fabric. 2 things. So let's tick the script. Number 1, objective, we achieved it. We won by a landslide. First time in the history of our country for a sitting government candidate to lose by well over 1 million votes. So, not long ago, I was making a presentation at U.S. Institute for Peace, and I did, after motivation, I did explain how we approached achieving this objective, but it's not for today. Yeah, but I think other countries on our continent can learn a few things that we picked ourselves. But we're sending signals, and we're doing it very carefully so we don't get into conflict with those that are running us. So, absolutely. So, yeah. Now, number 2 objective, we achieved it. And the masses of people that voted for us against all odds, mountain of cash, which the opposition now, then the ruling party had. It was done. We managed to do it, and we used all us, the same people that voted for us, to walk an extra mile to protect their vote. Because in the previous elections, vote protection was lampooned on the leader. But this time we said, no, it's your vote. You protect your vote. It did work. So now, that tick is done. We are on the third objective. Now that we've won the elections, we've been sworn in, we're in office today, 2 months, I think 9 days on the button. 2 months, 9 or 10 days on the button. You can work out your number. So now we are on the third leg. What are we doing with the country? Now we've been put in office to serve the people of Zambia. So the reunification of our country is an important aspect of our agenda on this third objective. Because in the last 10 years, our country was polarized to a level never seen before. If you look at employment in the public sector, you could almost know who would be appointed as a minister if there was a vacancy. It wouldn't be anyone from 6 provinces in the country. It would be someone from 4 provinces of the country, almost automatic. That applied to permanent secretaries, that applied to ambassadors, by and large, that applied to different functions in the central government. You almost knew who would be, not by physical appearance, but by name, actually, who would be the town clerk, who would be the council secretary. And if there were people removed, retired in national interest, before you heard the name, you knew that these names will come from these regions. That's unacceptable. That was unacceptable, and we intend to correct that situation. We committed to the people of Zambia that to start with, irrespective of the election results, we will be in a position to assemble a cabinet that will bring all the 10 provinces to the cabinet table. The English say, since we're in England, the English say the taste of the pudding is in the eating. So you can, on your own, examine the UPND cabinet. You can only liken it to the 1964 cabinet, where all the 10 provinces are there. We did not get MPs in 2 provinces. We did well. Landslide, yes. We won in 7 provinces out of 10, the presidential board. The 8th province was basically almost equal, and that was Eastern Province. We got 49%, my colleague got 50%. So we can say we were at par on that one. So, but 2 provinces, my colleague won, Wapula and Northern, and we didn't get a member party. But we were able to utilize the legal instruments before us to bring cabinet members from those 2 provinces. That is deliberate. That is orchestrated. Madam Chair, it wasn't by chance. So we were able to nominate members of parliament from those 2 provinces. And so, cabinet is balanced. Next, we're working on permanent secretaries. I know you've raised a lot of complaints. We're working on that. But we also took a decision that the civil service, public service, will focus more on merit, but still be able to bring diversity, inclusion, as opposed to exclusions. It is important, because one who's mandated to run the country must understand and accept the responsibility that they are doing that on behalf of all the 18 million Zambians, who may be placed in particular geographies. Some of them not by their own choice. Because you don't choose who your mother is, who your father is. You find yourself in fact, you just get 12. Yeah? In Africa, we don't do much DNA. So, colleagues, let me rest that part of reuniting the country, but only after mentioning what you have heard us do in the last week or two. As part of the independence celebrations, instead of a day of celebrations or remembrance, we are taking it as a series of activities. And we made a decision, I took a decision, sold it to my colleagues, that we will reach out to the spirit, to the freedom fighters, the spirit that they brought on the table to deliver political independence, as we deliver economic and social independence. So I took a trip out to go and pay homage to the late Simon Mansakapulu, where he's lying in Chisai. I'm sure you followed. That's not by chance. That is orchestrated. Then I followed that with where Harimanga Kumbula is lying. So we will continue. Next time it may be Ruben Kamanga, it may be Nalumino Mundia, it may be Justin Chimba, it may be whoever else. So that it is an activity we believe is important to rekindle the sense of unity, the spirit of unity. One another. So that will continue. Let's turn to the economic and social agenda. I'm sure that's what you want to hear most tonight. On that score, Chairperson, we have embarked on the understanding, effecting what we call an understanding that we can only take care of our people. The people who put us in office, by and large, the youth and women. We were brought into office to serve, largely by women. But the larger population, which includes men and women, the youth, the Bali fever is the ticket of change. Change meaning what? Economic reconstruction. For what? For opportunity for our people. It's as simple as that. Citizens took a decision that the government that was in office did not deliver opportunities for them. And this team, this diversified team, this reasonably united team was put in office to attend to creating opportunities for our people in their diversity, jobs, business opportunities, just to have an opportunity to do business. For the young, education, health services, a functioning health service delivery system. You all know what was obtained in home. What is still obtained, because we have not tackled much in reality, because I'll mention that why that is the case now. To deal with certain issues that inhibited opportunities being available. To utilize the national resources available to us. Resources are scarce, we all know. It's a basic economics course, undergraduate. Resources are scarce, how you utilize them matters. And during the campaign, Madam Chairperson, I used to say, the country, people are not poor because the country is not rich. God loved our country, gave us everything. Everything. I'm not really sure why he chose to give us so much water, so much minerals, so many minerals, so much fertile soils and grass. Because I'm a rancher. When I see grass, I see water, I say there's only one thing missing. Two things are there for me to produce T-bone steak. The water and the grass, the only thing is the management. That's it. That sector is taken care of. Management, which includes so many things, genetic issues, and obviously disease control, all of that, so much. So the people are poor because there's been no leadership to utilize these resources to benefit the people. That is the core. Now, with that understood, it is clear that we should be able to manage our country and improve the lives of our people by working the resources God gave us. And working them, given that the cash side is limited, in an efficient, effective way. Then we can change the economy. If we don't change the economy, we stand no chance in hell to better the lives of our people. I can be rude sometimes, but positively so. We Africans like to say we are good-hearted, isn't it? We like to say that, isn't it? We are communist people. We come from extended families, isn't it? And we like to help each other. But the truth remains that we cannot help each other if we don't create value. We cannot share poverty. That's the truth. So your party is focused on creating value so we can share, we can redistribute. That's lauded, isn't it? That's lauded. But we intend to do just that. When you see us here at the UN General Assembly, now here at COP26, we have a clear agenda that took us to the States, that brought us here. Opportunities for our people, resources, investment, so we can create the jobs that we committed to do, so that we can grow the economy and generate revenues that will allow us to support health service delivery, that will allow us to support education, as it were. That's what is taking us around. But we are also conscious that unless we do certain things, we cannot take the economy anywhere. What are these things? We have, number one, to create, and we are doing that, an attractive business operating environment. We'll do that consulting, stakeholders, getting your views, getting views of investors. And when we say investors, please, we have a different approach to it. The first investor we care much about is a Zambian investor. Those that have been with the country under extreme difficulties. We want to make sure that now we can open the lead for them to consolidate their businesses, small, micro, small, medium enterprises. They are the basis upon which the next level of investors will come. And we are clear on which ones, in that order. Domestic investors, next is regional investors. Within our region, within our continent. Then we are talking about Europe, we're talking about America, we're talking about UK, we're talking about China. In that order. So we are very clear. But sometimes it's not a segmented area of investors like that. It's a combination. In one business, you may find these three levels. One business. And we like to encourage it going forward. Now, the environment has not been good to promote investment. We're working on that. And once, through consultations, through views, we have benchmarked. Let me take one sector. The mining sector, although we want to diversify, remains still a critical sector to helping us drive the economy forward. In the last 20 years, there's been no stability in this sector. I'm talking about laws, regulations. I'm talking about taxes. Just to pick three items. In the last 20 years, the mining environment has been altered, has been tweaked 21 times in 20 years. Mining is a long-term investment. How the hell would an investor make a decision when you're changing the environment like that? Very difficult. Let me move very quickly. So we're working on that as a new government. Benchmarking. Competing with the best in terms of laws, regulations, tax regime. Some of you know something called VAT rule number 18. Damaging tax. To this level, the country owes taxpayers around this tax law called VAT rule 18 almost $1 billion. Because we've not been able to refund this amount of money. But the structure, the decision, the structure, the conceptualization of this was that we'll refund it once businesses fulfill their obligations. And now we're having to unravel this issue and find solutions to it. You will not see this government doing things like that. Once we've agreed on the right environment in this sector, we will hold that environment stable, predictable. And we have no doubt that we will attract more investments. I've already defined the investment, domestic. Madam Chair, we want to bring more Zambians in the mining sector. We want to bring more Zambians. Not just as workers, but as risk takers. Equity level, board level, management level. Suppliers, contractors. It's deliberate because we want to increase transactions in the economy in this sector, and growth will come from there. Back to what we committed to the people of jobs. Business opportunities will come from there. I've illustratively given one sector, Madam Chair, so you can see the paradigm shift, the way we are approaching the economy and particular sectors. We are clear that we did that to the mining sector, we'll be able to take advantage of this curve in metal prices, upward curve. Even marginal mines which may not have been profitable before, I think now will be in the black. But there's still many things we have to do around making sectors attractive and viable. Please, let's take out this notion of thinking that investors are always foreign and investors are bad people. I've already told you that. You can't share poverty. You have to have investment to create jobs. And you who live in this city, in this country, must know that better. So, if we do that in the mining sector, then we do that in agriculture, we do that in tourism, we do that in financial services, we do that in many other sectors, we will be able to drive this economy and bottom it up. Remember, the colleagues found an economy growing at 6+% GDP per annum. I don't know how they did it. They managed to wipe out that growth to minus. I don't know how they did it. I'm being polite to you. Now, sitting where I sit, I know why. But I knew, but I didn't realize that they were worse than what we all thought. Leave your relationship aside. You could have been a friend, a relative of a minister. Leave that aside. Be a nationalist for once.
That's right.
I too had relatives in the PF government, but I disagreed with them in national interest. I watch your platforms, I used to follow your debates within this country. Pro-PF, pro-UPND, you used to fight a lot. It was not necessary. Failure was evident. It was not necessary. So anyway, let me wrap it up in that, just this component, to say our intent is clear, to make every sector contribute positively to the economic revival. Because that then lies the answer to the change ticket that brought us into office. And we are determined, Chairperson, to do that. We are determined to friction even with relatives and friends along the way. So, if we got that right, we believe we will. If we got that right, there are other things we need to do in order to make just this tri-part work. What else do we need to do? We have decided to restore the rule of law. As an accompanying measure to our agenda. You can't do business, you can't have normal community life the way we lived in our country. It's a total breakdown in the rule of law. There was hooliganism everywhere. There was thuggery in markets where a widow depends on selling 20 boxes of tomato in Soweto. She wasn't able to trade. Party thugs armed took away her tomatoes and gave her a false price. She went home without anything. The little capital she had was taken away by thugs. Immediately we were declared winners. 14th or 15th of August. Following day we sent a message that there will be order in our country. No thug will be around to harass anybody. We did not use a gun. We did not tear gas anybody. As you know, I'm a victim of tear gas, right? Just the word. The markets were free. Bus stops were free. It is essential. You can't reconstruct the economy where there's no order. Where if you own a plot as a citizen back home in Lusaka, you sit your title deed, thugs may have already shared your plot. If you can feel that way, what about a non-Zambian who wishes to invest in our country? Will they come? No. The judicial systems must function. Justice must be delivered fair. We're committed to doing that. What else? Human rights. The flip side of the law and order is to respect human rights, liberties and freedoms. It's a civilized society. A democratic society must be able to deliver that as a bare minimum. I'm sure you've heard my pronouncements, our pronouncements, that I do not wish those who put me into jail 15 times to go to jail and put in jail by me or us. Because if we did that, we will be no different from them. I know many of you are unhappy about that. That's the way it should be. I understand you are unhappy, but that's the way it should be. Because this thing must come to an end. I'm not saying criminals will not go to jail. Don't misunderstand.
Thank you.
It is necessary in an environment you want to grow the economy in for every citizen to feel that they are free to conduct their daily business without persecution, without retribution. There's no one better placed than me as a servant of yours to change the course of that part of our lives, because I've suffered the most discriminated, most arrested. People around me have been shot at, killed. I think I'm qualified to end this thing. But it does not mean that if you stole from the people of Zambia, you'll get away with it. No. Your resources, our resources have been taken away consciously. I'll give you an example. We've taken a decision that procurement of goods and services and works in our country will be done on 3 principles after peeping through and seeing what has been going on in the last 10 years. Chairperson, let me contextualize this a little bit. This is very important. Very, very important. Look, money in our country, resources were bleeding in just a few areas. 4 areas. 1, procurement of fertilizer, where 4 things were happening. 1, we were buying fertilizer at a higher cost. When the commodity was selling at $450 per ton, we were buying it at $1,200 per ton. What economy can you run? So high cost. Number 2, under delivery. Number 3, late delivery. Number 4, poor quality fertilizer sold as best grade. Number 5, underweight. We picked these issues. It will not happen under this leadership. It will not happen. Pure procurement, overpaying all the time. Pure. 3, roads. 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 I will touch about the issue of debt, Madam Chairperson. One of the things we're going to dismantle is the debt mountain, choking our resources. What do I mean? Our national budget, Zambians waited for a budget to be announced year in, year out, and were hopeful, but they were being cheated. There was nothing for them, because the budget revenue side was taken out on the expenditure side by 2 items: debt service and public sector pay. That's it. 85% plus of your budget every year. 10 years you were waiting. You were waiting for nothing. There was no money for you. It was gone before the budget was designed. It was going to these 2 items. But the debt was accrued to finance the corruption in fuel procurement, in road construction, in fuel. I said fertilizer, fuel, road, and 4th, general procurement. Where, Madam Chairperson, a pen like that cost in Cairo Road 2 kwacha. Once it was moved a kilometer to Government House there, just a kilometer, it cost 20 kwacha. I'm not joking. We're reining in on expenditure, on extravagance. I used to say during the campaign, under the government that we've taken out, you could never have a chance in hell to develop this country. Why? The bucket was leaking. You can pour as much water as you wanted. The bucket was leaking. So, follow what I'm saying. We are sealing the bucket. We are sealing the bucket. So that when we put water there, the bucket will be full. Those are important economic parameters. So, let me return to the subject. I needed to explain this, Chairperson, so you understand why we have applied 3 principles going forward under this government. anything going forward that this government will buy, central, local government, quasi-government, parastatal, name it, will be based on 3 factors only. 1, we are going to pay only the right price. Only. How would we know? We'll benchmark that. See? Number 2, quality. We were building roads at $1 million per kilometer when we can build a road at $350 per kilometer. But these roads were poor quality. They are building in front, in the back is leaking. It will not happen going forward. We need your support in these areas. Number 3, deliver on time. Where I live, there were practicators given to do roads, drainage. They were doing from, some of you have been in Zambia too long. They were doing about 2 kilometers of drainage. That contract went on for 5 years. Why? Renewal after renewal. It was cash for the boys and girls, for party cutters. It will not happen under this government. Madam Chairperson, I have illustrated the principles that will allow us to rebuild the economy, to protect investments, to bring more investments, to create jobs, to create business opportunities, to be able to fund health, education, and the like. But more importantly, to attract more investment. So we have a zero tolerance policy on corruption. Zero. We have also said that corruption is corruption. Past corruption, present corruption, future corruption will be treated in exactly the same way. Let me share with you something that is important. But back on law and order. We pronounced that there will be no thuggery in the markets, in the bus stops. The PF thugs with guns disappeared. Then I go to New York, Washington, the UN General Assembly. Behind, one of my leaders pronounces that the PF cadres will now take, UPND cadres will take over markets. And they will provide security. Either way, my team members failed to put that under control. When I returned, I sent a message that we took out thugs because no one wants violence in those places. No one takes away the widow's opportunity to trade in the market. No one. And I will not allow, before you clap, give me a second. I will not allow UPND members to be the new thugs in town. Yes. That's how serious we are about this. Now you can clap. Very good. Very good. I think we have made the point. I can go on with the examples. But we are clear in our minds that the change for which we are put in office is here. We have started. There's order in the country. Some lingering old behavior will continue, but we'll nip it in the bud. In the bud. Some corruption will continue, we'll nip it in the bud. 1 or 2 guys will go, as an example. But we are also committed to recover the assets that were stolen. I think those resources are good use waiting for application. I think so. Madam Chairperson, we are committed as a leadership to walk the talk. We are committed to take the money that belongs to people away from a small clique of thieves in Lusaka to the communities. We have already demonstrated that the first UPND budget ever, area I packed an item that under our constitution, we are still working on the PF budget up to December. Next month, January, we start implementing the UPND budget. If you care about your country, you review the budget we put in place. For the first time since independence, we've dramatically altered the way the budget is structured. And we're going to take resources away from a clique of thieves in Lusaka to the constituencies. So the constituencies can make decisions on what their priorities for development are at that local level. I don't want to waste your time to talk figures. I think if you care, you've seen the draft figures. And that will significantly mean something different, never seen before. You will see development at a local level. 5 years of our term. I don't really care about 2026. 2026 will take care of itself once we've delivered for the people. We care about what we need to do now, given the opportunity the people of Zambia have given us to serve with 7 leaders. And this is one instrument that we are applying. As we allow the people in the constituencies across the country without discrimination. The discrimination that I told you about, retirement is national interest, all of that. By the way, we've sent a message. I've seen a note from the acting secretary of the cabinet and our instruction that all of those people that were retired in national interest, but it was actually in private interest, will be retained into their position. The note has gone on. But they will be assessed, because some may claim they were retired in national interest when actually they committed something. So it will not be wholesale, we will evaluate that. So we are on the road to implementing our agenda for the people of Zambia. So devolution is here. We've started with it. Who knows better where a clinic in Porokoso, in a rural area, there needs a maternity wing? Does anyone in Lusaka know that? No. The people in Porokoso know. And they will make that decision. But now we support them with the resource envelope. There's a difference. What else? As money goes to local communities, contractors for goods and services first will come from those constituencies. If there's no capacity to the district, to the province, we end there. Again, deliberate, the money will circulate in that constituency, in that district, in that province. So we can decongest Lusaka and Copperbelt in terms of development approach and utilization of resources, scarce resources at a time. I don't think you heard what I'm saying. Contracts to provide desks in a school, to provide solar, green energy, those local areas supported in these budgets will be given to local suppliers. Of course, we are laying on that base monitoring and control, having given the guidelines. I think you've been listening to my speeches. And the Auditor General and us had a meeting that now the audit scope will go down there so they can follow the money to ensure that it's properly utilized. We don't want to move money away from the small clique of thieves in Lusaka and take it to districts and constituencies and generate new thieves there. We're not just about it. Not about it. So, Madam Chairperson, these are some of the basic parameters that we're working on, the thrust that we're working on, and we will absolutely pay a blind focus to investment. Bringing Zambians into the mining sector, bringing Zambians into tourism, bringing Zambians. Joint ventures are something we're going to promote. You will see, once the budget is approved in December, by December, the next thing from January, we are working on off-budget items. A lot of them. Taking out bureaucracy, madam, taking out a multiplicity of licenses, making it easy to do business. Why should a title deed take 1 year to be issued? We'll be sitting with the ministries and with the lands officers. Once an application is put in place there, we want the title to be given in a week or 10 days. No more than that. These things, Madam Chairperson, appear small. They are not small. They inhibit economic activity. They delay job creation. We're in a hurry. Education, you've seen what we've done in the budget. You don't have to send your hard-earned money now to pay for your niece who comes from an underprivileged family. No PTA funds, no school fees up to grade 12. Our colleagues who are in opposition now, 3 months ago in the ruling party, they were laughing at us. Just last week, no, before we announced the budget, they were laughing at us, mocking us. I said, oh, wait for the budget. What is it that you're talking about? They never thought that it was possible. Everything is possible if you know what you're doing. We should not set limits on ourselves on what is possible. We should be ingenious. We are ingenious. We are innovative. Absolutely. So, now, if you can save money, which you are sending for your niece, for school fees, we would like you to accumulate that money and invest home. Yes. Bring it home. We are setting mechanisms off the budget again because we needed the relief to put the budget in. I know most of you are complaining that, oh, appointment here. I have priorities in this case. My priority first, I'm serious, my priority first was to get the economic side and the budget put in place. The first minister we appointed was Minister of Finance, alone. Everyone thought that I was being lazy. No. The time we had, which is constitutional, to present the budget was very limited. So I couldn't work on the tourism sector, work on that. I needed to work on the budget to send a message. And we've sent a message. Now we can populate with, even I know what you're looking for. One of you may be the ambassador here. We have not forgotten about you, but we needed to get anchors on the economy going. Time is limited. How you utilize it matters. What you do with the day matters. So, we're not saying to you, trust us. You don't have to trust us. Just watch. Just let us work for a short while. You will see on your own. I know your eyes may not see what we see. But in another 6 months, 1 year, we start seeing the difference. We're committed to doing that. Right? There are many things that are doable and do not need us to borrow money from the IMF. I've just given you a few examples. The guys in opposition were saying, HH, we shall see what is going to do. Bali, he committed too much. I said, I never made any promises to anybody. And the debate went on social media. I said, I never made promises which are excessive. What I committed to the people of Zambia is the barest minimum. How will you run a country where people have not gone to school, they have no skills? Which country are you going to run? Which economy are you going to run? Where you are seated here, why do you think the city of London is a leading financial service center? Because there are skills here. And when the skills are not here, they buy the skills. So, education is important. So having someone say, oh, HH overpromised on education, we shall see how it's going to do it. I say, try ignorance and see what economy is going to do. I am a living example. I went to school first 3 years without shoes. I first went to Lusaka to go to university on a government bursary. If I didn't get that education, I wouldn't be standing here tonight talking to you as a president. Only one asset I was given, education. Do you want another example? That's enough. We need education, we need health, we need functioning health. We need to dismantle the debt mountain which our colleagues created in order to fund corruption in roads and festivals and others. We are going to do that. This morning we had a meeting with debt stockholders, the Eurofund, and we talked as men and women, sitting on both sides, different sides, but actually share the same problem. We must find a resolution to the debt mountain. If we don't, it doesn't make the debt provider happy, neither does it make us happy. We have a vested interest. That's the way we are approaching development in our country. We talk to each other. We understand what the debt stockholders want. They understand what we want. There has to be a resolution of this impasse. We then reopen the economy and they have a chance to do more business and more investment. But an investment where if they lend to us once we're through with the restructuring of the economy and debt, they'll be paid. We don't want to be defaulters. But the situation left as it is, it favors nobody. As you sit, I want to see hands of Zambians in this one. If you're a Zambian citizen or resident, let's see your hands. Have you ever imagined what this country would have been if another 5 years of leadership went to the friends that are responsible? Have you ever found just 10 minutes to think about it? Everything was going high. How do you destroy an economy going at close to 7%? You damage everything. I invite those who are supporting here that you are free, you exercise your democratic right. But I invite you to work with us going forward to lead the way. You have no ill feelings at all, because that's your constitutional right. But now that you know what was obtaining and what we put on the table, let's work together. There was a small issue here, which I passed on to colleagues, Madam Chair, that there was a selective approach to inviting people to come to this meeting. Yeah. I immediately sent a note. I sent a note. I said, everybody is welcome here. Everybody, anyone is welcome here. Citizens of Zambia, it doesn't matter where your allegiance was. It's gone. The election is over. Now we want to rebuild together. Even as a resident, as a friend of Zambia, you are free to come here because we want to learn from you as well. So we can learn. Madam Chairperson, there are things I will say, but I choose to close by saying we have a rare opportunity to take our country to where it should be. We have a rare opportunity for our country to re-enter the League of Civilized Nations. For once, when I was a student here, doing my master's in Birmingham, Brown we call it, we were proud to have gone through an undergraduate system in Zambia because we were no inferior to any other master's student. But today, look at the quality of education at home. Right? But we have an opportunity to reconstruct our country for the benefit of all, without exclusions, which we saw in the last 10 years. Divisions, marginalization. We're looking for your views, your advice, your counsel, your criticism, by the way. I'm one guy who invites people, Madam Chair, to criticize us. But when you choose to criticize us, do your homework. Yes, this is it. Come with facts. Come with facts. Come with possible solutions. We'll take them on board. It's your country. We're just your servants for now. Only for now. But once we're through with this country, we will then raise the bar for the presidents, for the government. Because for too long, we got used to low levels of delivery. And we thought that was normal. So come with your advice, counsel. You are very well placed here. This city, this country offers a lot. Help us. Give us suggestions. Give us alternative ways of looking at things. Better ways, obviously. And we are amenable to your advice, to your counsel. My team is here tonight, some of them. You want to pursue some of these issues? Take their numbers. Let's talk to each other. Let's work together. Madam Chairperson, I thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to disrupt that now.
Thank you so much, Mr. President, for such a compelling template. I'm overwhelmed. It's a template, I'm sure all of you will agree with me, that should be used everywhere. Win the election, protect your vote, and deliver to the people. Unifying the country and also having an economic agenda that is well thought through. Thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you so much. Thank you. You've given us such a compelling roadmap with delivery that you've had in a little under 3 months. I know that your schedule is busy.
I'll stay longer.
Thank you. You knew I was going to negotiate that with you. Yeah, so
Did you warn me after that?
I did. I wanted to just say so that I know that there are probably a lot of comments, questions that people want to raise. So what I will do, because I think we were supposed to have a conversation with my own question, but I think I'll reverse it. Because you've addressed many of the issues that we had gotten a sense that people wanted to hear about. What is your agenda for the people? What are you doing on corruption? How are you going to manage the issues around debt? And I will leave my last question to you around COP26 at the end. So that particularly for my Zambian brothers and sisters who are here, so they can have a chance to make comments and ask questions. We're already past time, thanks to the President, His Excellency. He's given us a little bit more time. So what I would like is to have people who want to ask questions or make comments. I want to lay down the rules first, and it may just be faster. I don't know if it's appropriate, but forgive me, people just kind of just queue up in front so that we can just do it one after the other. But the one question per person or one comment, and we'll take a series at a time, and then we'll go for the next. But please introduce yourself and your affiliation. I know there's a lot of people, so I'm going to have you people just queue up in front here. Yes, I'm sorry. And ladies first. No, just one lady first. And if we've got a microphone, oh my God, everybody's coming out. So the queue is closed for the time being, and we'll start again. So please go ahead, madam. one comment or one question per person. I'm sorry, we can all sit, we don't have to all queue. I didn't know there were going to be so many takers, so please, it's okay. Go ahead, madam, please, so that we can. Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Excellency. It's a pleasure and honor to see you. My name is Cynthia Malantanda Obanako-Williams. My name is Cynthia Malantanda Obanako-Williams. I'm Deputy Director of Zambians Together for fundraising. I'm also a chemotherapy nurse in London. I affiliate with the Zambia Cancer Society as well. So my question, I had a few, but my most important question is there a plan in place for a new cancer hospital in Lusaka? We seem to be inundated with people coming across the whole of Zambia and rushing to CGU in Lusaka. And also, is there a possibility of subsidizing pediatric cancer drugs, please?
Thank you. So that's a good example. So you introduce yourself very quickly. Next person, please hand over the mic.
Good evening, Your Excellency. My name is hakainde. I'm actually a neighbor in Lusaka West, CB Grow. So I come from the organization which is Zambians Together. I'm actually co-chair. I also work for Electricity in France. And my interest is more professional, from the following COP26 where you've just come from, and climate change and the like. At the local level, as a government, seeing that you probably traveled with the Minister of Green Economy, which is a great ministry that you set up, what, in terms of plans do you have to try and integrate local actions? Because there's a lot of charcoal, cutting of trees that happens within the country, because that's a source of revenue for people who are engaged in that. At local level, what kind of action points do you intend to put in place, seeing that you've come from COP26?
Thank you. Next person.
My name is Chisala Chiyungi, and I am based here at Bedford, and I work for car industry, so I'm in the motor industry. My question, Chisala. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
My question is based on how sustainability Zambia is focusing, especially to copper production, because the next thing around the world will be electric cars, and electric cars are going to have copper components, especially how Zambia prepared in this stage to add value to copper production. Also remembering that they have to look at how sustainable that production will be. I say this because if you go back to Usakile, we've got smelter mines in Usakile. When they release those gases, they affect many lives. But what technology are you going to implement in Zambia?
I was just going to say, sir, and the President has reminded me, one question or one comment per person so that we can have many others.
I was just trying to summarize why my question.
We understand. Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, we understand the system.
Thank you. Next person, yes, thank you.
Your Excellency, congratulations. My name is Dr. John Lukomona. I'm Dr. John Lukomona. Right. I'm an investor, a Zambian investor, 15 years in the industry, chairman of Amakaya Wingi, and chancellor of the Lukomona John University, and president of the college. I want to express interest to invest in Zambia, in the water sector and the lead sector, and I have resources behind me with my team. So, Your Excellency, I'd like to know how we can collaborate with the people that you come with so that we can seal this area. And just want to say, Your Excellency, I've got a gift for you. Every Zambian is a millionaire. I wrote that book 2010. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next person behind you.
Up to you. Up to you. I'm taking notes. Up to you.
Yes, madam.
Good evening, Mr. President. My name is Mutumba Amsa Nielsen, and I would like to congratulate you and your entire government on your victory, and also on a fantastic budget. I took time to listen to it. I did that twice.
Thank you.
I can guarantee you that it has added more zeros to the certain surety. My question is, the CDF funding has been increased from 1.6 million to 25.7 million. Thank you very much. I think that's fantastic. And what I would like to know is, how will your government ensure equity? Because some of that funding is going to constituencies that were much more neglected in the last 10 years. So how do we ensure equity?
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. My name is Dr. Henry Mumbi, and my plea is that most of Zambians acquired other citizenships, either it's UK or any other European country. My plea, Your Excellency, is that would your government give amnesty for those citizens who acquired foreign citizenship before 2016. Thank you very much, Excellency.
Good evening, Your Excellency. My name is Hilda Mulenga. I'm the Deputy Chairperson of the Association of Zambian Nurses here in the UK. My question is it possible for us to remove the bed stayers, you know, the relatives that come to look after the patients on the wards? And could we replace them in the meantime with the healthcare assistants? And with the assistance of us, the nurses here in the UK, we can help moderate, train, and have these healthcare assistants assist the nurses on the wards in Zambia. I do empathize with the nurses. Thank you.
Thank you. You have to forgive me, and Mr. President.
Yes.
I know that you are able to cover several areas, but I think it'll be good if we pause and hear from you, and then take the next set of questions.
I do it here or there?
Whichever one. If you're wearing your mic, it's fine. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
I just want to see people.
Okay.
So, right, thanks. If that's okay with you?
It is okay, sir.
Right. Cynthia, the plan for another cancer hospital. That's a point well made. I think in the beginning, I was sort of rushing through things that health service delivery is one of the barest minimums in my view. And then the hospital, before you talk of cancer hospital, there's just been no medicine. First line medicine, basic. So we are addressing that. I want to go further by saying what the coronavirus in Zambia on, and I must have talked about it, but at the campus, so we can bring this pandemic under control, so we can have a chance to reconstruct the economy. If we don't manage this pandemic, we will not reconstruct the economy. You can see here now people go to stadiums without masks because there's been massive vaccination. I think you are aware of what we've done. We are mobilizing more resources to bring vaccine. And we've told the West, if you think you are safe and you keep the vaccine to yourself, we will be the host for mutants which will bite you soon. So let us work together. So now, what am I saying? What the coronavirus has done is to tell us, especially on our continent, back home, that the days of politicians, so-called frivolous people, flying all over the world to seek medical attention are over. We must develop local capacity. Health services capacity. That includes what you've raised, madam, wherever she is, where is she? You are there. Thank you, madam. That includes us bringing first-class medical services capabilities within our country. If you look at the money we've been spending on flying patients, accommodation, before you even get to see a doctor, it's too much money. This government is looking at bringing the best health services, capabilities within our country, including cancer. Thank you very much. Right. One day, My neighbor, truly.
Yes, sir.
This young man has grown. He was tiny. His father is actually Chief Mpani, Dr. Mpani, who is a friend of mine. He was a lecturer when I was a student. His father was a lecturer when I was a student. Yeah. Now, COP26, local action. Mpani.
Yes, sir.
Part of COP26, part of what is integral to the climate change fight is what they call nationally determined action program. So we as a country have already made commitments as to what we will be doing at the national level using our own resources. I hope this thing is working. You can hear me? Our own resources as a nation, like other nations are required to do. So we've made those commitments clear at COP26, more so now. But also, those actions are not enough. We have discussed and agreed that the days when we were debating whether climate, that this is the risk to humanity, to the globe, to our generation. And we must work together at the national levels, but internationally, it's also agreed that it's the first world that has polluted our environment more than all of us. But we're not pointing fingers. We have to work together. So part of what is being discussed, we've left a team of negotiators to agree specific